This is a young girl who's been frozen for 200 million years, yet her body shows no signs of decay and she looks very beautiful. At this moment, Ellie shone a flashlight. Suddenly, she realized that the girl's pupils had shrunk unexpectedly, but this is the physiological reaction of a living person. This immediately made the two of them very surprised, so she hurriedly shone the light into her eyes again. Unsurprisingly, the pupils contracted again. Ellie told her co-workers about the discovery. They immediately brought in equipment and put a detector on her brain. Soon the girl's brainwaves started bouncing around on the monitor. This immediately made them realize that the girl who had been frozen for 200 million years is still alive, so they immediately set up a heater and started baking on the ice. As the temperature continues to rise, the ice soon turns to water, but Ellie was still too slow, so she brought in a couple more roasters to bring the temperature right up to full blast. Soon after a year, the ice melted and the girl's beautiful body was revealed. Everyone carried her to the stretcher. Immediately start the rescue work. They drew blood for testing while administering oxygen to her. Luckily, the girl's heartbeat has resumed, her blood pressure is gradually normalizing, and they've just cut the girl's clothes. As they were about to cut open her clothes for examination, they surprisingly found no frostbite on her body. Before they could understand why, the girl's eyes suddenly blinked. She had regained consciousness. This greatly astonished everyone present. This girl, who had been frozen for 200 million years, has really come back to life. Looking at the 8 modern people in front of her, she was instantly terrified. What they didn't know was that the beautiful girl they saved is not an ordinary human being. This woman, who had been frozen for 200 million years, miraculously came back to life. Looking at the 4 modern people in front of her, the girl was trembling with fear. Before she knew what was going on, Ellie took off the oxygen mask in a hurry. At that moment, Lisa, who was just exposed to the outside air, began to cough violently and had difficulty breathing. Her body began to shake uncontrollably. Seeing this, they immediately restrained her and quickly injected her with a sedative. Soon the girl's mood stabilized. Looking at this ancient girl in her sleep, they were full of curiosity about her, so they decided to learn more about her past and present. Soon, a year later, Lisa woke up, but when Ellie removed her gauze, she unexpectedly found that the needle marks from previous blood draws had miraculously healed. At this time, Jake tried to communicate with her, but she seemed to not understand his English. On the other hand, backstage colleagues also made a new discovery. They noticed that Lisa's brainwaves almost matched with those of humans in ancient times. In other words, Lisa is a young and beautiful woman who has lived for 200 million years. This immediately made everyone feel incredible. At that moment, a colleague returned to the company in a panic. It turns out that while he was out surveying, the weather suddenly changed, directly caused his whole body massive frostbite. Even his feet were frozen into ice pops. People immediately started to rescue him, but before they could start the medical equipment, the man's heartbeat had already stopped. While everyone was at their wits' end, Lisa came here when she heard the noise. She slowly put her hand on the man's body, seemingly trying to perform some kind of mysterious therapy. In a short while, the man's frostbitten body gradually recovered. Such a miraculous scene amazed the people around him, and it made them suspect this girl might not be a human from Earth. While the two were still discussing, a colleague on the monitor suddenly fainted. After a thorough examination, Ellie discovered that her colleague was infected with a mysterious virus, and the carrier of this virus is the girl, and with the current level of medical care, there is no way to eliminate it. Helplessly, Jack sought the girl, requesting her to save his colleague again. For once, she seemed to understand Jack's English and followed him to the ward. She extended her hands, placing them on the other person's chest and forehead, continuing to release her magic, but every time he finished casting magic, he fainted for no reason, and when Ellie examined him, she found that the hemoglobin in the girl's body was plummeting. Obviously, if she continued casting spells, her body would not be able to support it and she would die instantly, so in order to save her life, they decided to confine her, but the girl knew those who fainted in the room were all caused by her arrival. She did not want to see these innocent people die because of her, so the kind-hearted girl first groped the guards unconscious, then she sneaked into the hospital room. She began to treat the poisoned people. By the time they realized it was already too late, the girl was already lying on the floor in critical condition. Seeing the critical situation, they rushed her to the hospital, but modern medicine could not cure her. The girl could only wait for death with her eyes open. Jack came to her and confessed his love for her. It turns out that the first time he saw the girl, he had already fallen in love with her, but now they were about to be parted by life and death. Hearing this, the girl also tried her best to pull out a small smile. Then she fell asleep forever. Thus, their relationship ended before it even began. This is the end of the movie. This story tells us when you meet someone you like, you must